One thing a secure person does not do is chase. A secure person does not chase. They don't chase money. They don't chase friendships. They don't chase relationships. Secure people don't chase. And it's not because they don't care about anything or anyone, but because they don't experience connection as something that can be taken away at any moment. Chasing is a response to perceived scarcity. It comes from the belief that if you don't move fast enough, say the right thing, or prove your worth, you'll be left behind. Security doesn't operate from that belief. A secure person understands that what's meant to stay will stay, and what needs convincing was never aligned to begin with. So they don't pursue people who are unsure about them. They don't chase clarity from confusion. They don't run after mixed signals hoping they'll stabilize. They pause, they observe, and they let things reveal themselves. That's not passivity, that's discernment. Secure people don't explain themselves endlessly. Explanation is often an attempt to manage perception, to control how you're seen, to make sure you're understood in a way that keeps you safe or accepted. But secure people know something important. People who genuinely want to understand you don't require persuasion. So they don't over clarify their intentions. They don't justify their boundaries. They don't rehearse conversations in their head hoping this time the message will finally land. They say what's true once, they say it clearly, and then they watch what happens. If the response is defensiveness, dismissal, or confusion that never resolves, they don't argue reality into place. They adjust their access. Because security doesn't depend on being believed. It depends on being self-aligned. Secure people don't compete because competition requires comparison, and comparison requires instability. When you're secure, you're not measuring yourself against someone else's timeline, personality, or path. You're not watching what others have and questioning your own worth. You're not trying to outperform, outshine, or outposition anyone. You're anchored. So instead of competing, secure people select. They choose environments that match them. They choose relationships that feel mutual. They choose conversations that feel grounded instead of draining. They don't need to win. They don't need to dominate. They don't need to be chosen publicly. They've already chosen themselves internally. That's why secure people often appear calm, even when things are uncertain. They're so calm. They don't rush to fill silence. They don't panic when things slow down. They don't mistake urgency for importance. They understand that stillness isn't stagnation, it's information. Security allows you to wait without anxiety, to listen without defending, to move without pressure. And that's why secure people seem so unbothered, not because they lack depth, but because they've stopped outsourcing their sense of stability. They don't chase because they trust alignment. They don't explain because they trust clarity. They don't compete because they trust themselves. And when you trust yourself, you don't need to convince anyone of your value. You just live it. You just exist. You just are. Security doesn't rush toward anything. It stands still long enough for truth to show up. If this video resonated with you and you would like to continue the conversation, feel free to subscribe to my channel. On this channel, we discuss topics surrounding confidence, boundary setting, healing from narcissistic abuse, jealousy, envy, and self-mastery. Also, Don't forget to follow me on TikTok at author Ash1. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.